Siobhan quickly lashed the grip strips around her boots while Max ripped out the zipper in her backpack and improvised her own pair of slip-proof running shoes. "Friction is our friend," said Max. "Let's go." They took off. The running was a little easier, a little less slip and slide. But the goons with guns had those snowmobiles. They were gaining on Max and Siobhan, quickly closing the gap in the race across the icy plateau. Now Max wished Ben hadn't terminated the CMI's security detail, Charles and Isbel. He thought the team didn't need armed guards anymore, since the evil corp was currently out of business. "Who are these bloomin' idiots chasing after us?" Siobhan seethed. "I thought the corp was over and done for. Who wants to stop us now?" "Lots of people," thought Max. "You make dealing with global warming your top priority, you're gonna make a whole lot of very wealthy, very powerful people very angry." Suddenly, Max heard something louder than the roar of the rushing water boring through the melting ice. The whomp, whomp, whomp of chopper blades as a sleek black helicopter rose up on the bright blue horizon, clearing the edge of the glacier just as another huge slab of ice and snow let loose and crashed into the sea. And yeah, the guys inside the helicopter were decked out in the same snow camo as the guys on the snowmobiles. They also had the same kind of weapons. "We've definitely run out of time," cried Siobhan. "We've also run out of glacier," Max shouted back. They were racing straight toward an icy cliff. There was nothing ahead of them but blue sky and thin, wispy clouds. "We need to jump," said Max. "Off a blooming glacier? Bad idea." Max agreed. "Terrible idea, but it's the only one we have left." Max and Siobhan reached the end of the ice. "Jump," said Max. "I thought we were supposed to be smart," said Siobhan. "Geniuses," added Max. And then the two friends closed their eyes and jumped off the icy bluff. 2. 3 seconds later, Max gave Siobhan another command. "Now!" Max yanked hard on the ripcord attached to her backpack. Siobhan did the same. A pair of small tactical parachutes exploded out of their backpacks and caught the Arctic air. Max and Siobhan, of course, both totally understood the physics of their low-altitude jump. Air resistance buffeting the chute would overwhelm the downward force of gravity, transferring their net force and acceleration upward. The two skydivers slowed down. As their speed decreased, the air resistance also decreased, until Max and Siobhan were just floating over the chilly blue waters of Greenland's Baffin Bay. "We've reached terminal velocity," Max announced. "Thank goodness those two haven't," said Siobhan in her lilting Irish accent. She gestured down to a rapidly approaching boat skimming across the surface of the water, gunning for the spot where Max and Siobhan were about to splash down. On board was another member of the CMI team, Klaus, the sausage-loving robotics expert from Poland. But he wasn't the one piloting the boat. That job was being deftly handled by Leo, the CMI's amazing automaton. Klaus was just along for the ride, and to make sure the robot's circuits stayed dry. Triangulating and timing his approach perfectly, Leo positioned the mini ice-cutting craft right where Max and Siobhan needed it for a pinpoint deck-rocking landing. "Thanks, you guys," said Max, peeling off her backpack when she and Siobhan were safely on board. "Appreciate the on-time arrival," added Siobhan as she undid her parachute. "We were tracking you across the ice," said Klaus. "You guys were moving fast." "May I inquire as to why you needed to execute such a dramatic extraction from the iceberg?" said Leo in his clipped robotic voice. "After all, Ben charged you two with gathering geographical data for our upcoming—" Max held up her hand to silence Leo and pointed behind him. "That's why." The pack of snowmobiles had reached the craggy bluff of the glacier. "We were running away from those blokes," said Siobhan. "And those," said Max as the helicopter hovered up and over the glacier again. "We don't know who they are, just that they don't want us snooping around on melting glaciers."
"Leo,